This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition.
All right, we got a new AC right here, new package unit, curb adapter. Waiting on the crane to show up, just making sure everything's good. It's a gas heat unit, 208 3-phase, that's all correct, 5 ton. All right, this is our unit. We just need to get this guy unhooked. Crane will be setting up over here. We got power turned off, so we're just gonna disconnect everything. Our unit is disconnected. We're gonna take it down just like this. We've got the center point for our crane marked right here. So where that cinder block is the center point, and that's just direction for the person that's lining up the crane. That way they know the crane needs to be approximately right there. We've got our ladder ready. We're just trying to be ready, trying to get this, done as fast as possible and as safe as possible. So, all right, we got the old unit off. We're gonna tape the curb. Got the curb adapter here, crane right there. So we're getting there. Okay, so it's gonna go like this. So this is the return right here. So my end is gonna go right here. You're gonna walk to that side over there. So turn and walk.
The return and supply is going to flip right now, and I want that unit pushed up against the curb. So I want the overhang that way.
Okay. That one comes with spiders already.
Tell me when he's too far or if he's good.
You're good right
more that way, I think.
Yeah, he's going.
Go down a little bit more.
That's what I'm doing.
That's good.
Unit spun around and tell me where it needs to go. Alright, stop.
Move him left. Just a little.
Don't stretch, don't stretch. Let the crane do it. Okay. How are we? Do we need to move down more?
Yeah.
A little bit?
I would go move left too. A little
I
bit.
think we're pretty center.
Tell me when.
You're good right there, Chris.
Alright, we're going down.
Go down. Just line it up.
Are you guys going to be able to set it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Watch your fingers.
Go down.
Alright, is that pretty far forward?
All the way.
Okay. Good?
Yeah.
We're going to set it. Man, that thing doesn't seem very sturdy.
It's kind of lightweight metal. You got a lag on it? Funky little offset on that curb. We're definitely going to have to secure the curb adapter, make sure it's lagged into there. But it's level. Unit's good. Just a little 5-ton, no big deal. Everything lined up. Nice and good. All right, we got the economizer installed. We're peeling off guys. We start with a big crew usually, and then we peel them all off as time goes on. We got the drain done. just cleaned it up right now, so that looks nice and good. We like putting multiple clean outs. So I like having a clean out going downstairs. I like having a union, and a clean out here, but this one has to be capped. You can see I didn't have any caps, so I took the O-ring out of a Pro Press fitting and we soldered it in. So that just sits like that, and this is our vent. So we can clean out the trap this way, we can clean out the trap this way, and this way. I realize some people put like a drain down here, just not my thing. But yeah, so that looks good. We'll probably paint that black. I'm waiting on some conduit benders right now. Got 2 boxes right there, and then we'll come out. Yeah, everything is going pretty good so far. Just like I thought, I wasn't able to use the benders. I thought I was going to, but I can't do offsets. I'm not that good with those benders. So I ended up just putting LBs, or I don't know what you call those, RBs, I don't know. But regardless, we got those. We secured them, but then we pulled them off and siliconed back behind here. It's just double walled, but still we siliconed, then put everything back on for every connector and everything. So electrical, they're gonna pull the power right now, and they're gonna pull the thermostat wire. And once we get that going, we've got the drain line done, then we'll start worrying about the gas line. But I'd like to at least get this guy going here. Cooling at least, you know what I mean, Vern? We went ahead and pulled the old gas line and put a ball valve there, but we still haven't measured for everything else that we need. I need to invest in that mega press, because this would make doing this gas line so much easier. Instead, because I don't cut, I don't have a threader or anything like that, so I'm just, getting pieces and using couplings and stuff. So, and the mega press, my understanding, my Milwaukee M12 can do mega press up to 1 inch, which usually that's the biggest gas line I want to deal with. So. All right, we just got water in the trap. We've got the electrical all hooked up. Run into the disconnect switch. Coming up and over. Going down, grounded. Going into here. We tucked it all the way up underneath there. That's how I like to do it. Ran it up. They give you 3 lugs now, so that's cool. We're good, we're tight. Thermostat wires hooked up. We haven't done anything with gas yet, but we can at least get the unit running. And then set the blower speed, and then we can work on piping the gas line. All right, we got power on. I confirmed that we have 213 volts, 3-phase coming to the top of the disconnect. We got 45 amp fuses with 3 spares inside there. Now, what I did was I disconnected 24 volts from the transformer, so we can safely turn on power, and we can do a phase rotation test without anything turning on the unit, okay? So to do the phase rotation test, we're gonna use the field piece SC480. We're gonna put it in the phase rotation mode. Will, do you mind doing this real quick? Line 1 to 2, 213, and then go ahead and switch to line 3. And it says that we're line 321. So we are gonna go ahead and turn off power, and we are gonna rotate it right here. We'll rotate any 2 lines, and then we'll recheck. You never know with these guys. So we went to go do it, but then Will reminded me that half the time these things aren't wired right. So you would think that this is line 1, 2, 3, but when you push in the contactor, the compressor's running in the right direction. It's not making a loud noise. So it's not backwards. They just wired this backwards right here. So whatever, who knows? I don't care. Regardless, we're hooked up. We got the right phase rotation. We're ready to proceed with the startup on the indoor blower motor. Okay, we are gonna do our initial startup, and we're gonna pull this guy off real quick. Set that down there. Okay. Power is coming on. It should be running. Anything? Okay, hold on. Okay, well, we're definitely running, so. Okay, all right, go ahead and come on back up. All right, we've got a manometer on here because you need a manometer to set the blower speed on these new EcoBlue motors. But first and foremost, we gotta make sure that the economizer isn't open, because when we want the economizer closed, and we wanna set the speed, and then we'll open the economizer accordingly. So I came over here, so the blower is running, but this guy's like 100% open. So we gotta get these economizer closed first. Instead of dealing with the programming at the moment, I'm just gonna jump in here and disconnect the economizer and just wire it up for no economizer for the moment. Then we'll set the blower speed, then we'll do what we need to do with it. This guy, just like everything else, has duct issues because we are running 1.3 inches of static, and we're technically not even at full speed yet. Max static on this unit is 1 inch, okay? So if we come over here and we look at, it tells you how to set it right here, but if we look at this guy at 2000 CFMs, at 1 inches of static, we should be reading 9.7 for the VDC. Well, probably, yeah, 9.7 right there. And we're only at 8.8. So technically I'd want to speed it up to get more CFMs out of it, but we're already running over max static, so we actually need to slow this guy down. So we're going to turn this guy, slow it down, get it to 1 inch of total external static and see where that puts us. Okay, so we're going to turn this down just a little bit. Blower slowing down. Let's see what we're getting at. You don't want to burn these motors out, these EcoBlue motors. You don't want to run them over. So it's getting better. But yeah, we're going to be having some airflow issues on this bad boy. Typical everything, right? So you don't want to overload these guys. Now, to be fair though, I guess another good point to make is that if I open, well, let's look at something. P1 is my supply static, 0.45. Let's go ahead and go to P2, 0.62. So we are actually restricted on the return. It's possible that we have a plugged up return, but at the same time, we are gonna open outside air and pull a minimum outside air through this unit. So technically, we might still have a little bit of fudge room here, because if we open up that outdoor air damper, we're gonna lower the return static because, well, maybe we'll lower it, we'll see. But yeah, you just gotta watch. You don't wanna overload these guys. All right, now I have the Wi-Fi stick for this Siemens Climatex Eco Economizer module. So I'm able to connect it to my tablet and see if I can get you guys. So basically I'm just gonna set everything up. Go through, set up the different modes. So economizer mode, single dry bulb, you guys can see, and it lets you go through. So I'm gonna go ahead and set everything up appropriately and then set the minimum outside air position. You can see it's open all the way right now, so we gotta check some stuff out. All right, this economizer still is a pain in the butt. Okay, so we're good. Save configuration. Yeah, I don't wanna deal with that. I downloaded the app. What I found was the actuator was backwards. I had to flip all the dip switches to the top because when it powered up, it was opening all the way and staying open. So we did that, got the actuator to flip around. I went in using the dongle right here. This is a Wi-Fi stick that I had to purchase. I was able to download the app. It's kind of silly, but you got to create a password, which is just dumb, but whatever. Created a password, set the economizer up for the minimum position. They had it economizing at 73 degrees. That is way too high. We don't want that. Our building is being maintained. This is just silly the way they have these economizers set up. Our building temperature is like 73, 74 degrees. We only want the economizer opening when it's like 10 to 15 degrees below that outside. So I have the economizer set at 63 degrees. So if it gets below 63, then the economizer is gonna open up. We don't need it opening at 73 because it's just gonna create problems. So, and it's not a big enough temperature swing for that. You want it to be, you know, a bigger temp swing so that way you can have a temperature differential from the outside air to the inside air so that way it cools it fast enough. If you open it when it's 73 degrees outside and you're calling for 73 degrees, it's going to take forever to cool the building down. It's just a problem. So anyways, that's just my 2 cents on that. So we got it all set up. Now we're just working on the gas line. Just needed a couple more fittings to make the gas line work. We're just about done. Gonna strap it up, do all that good stuff, but I hate having to do all the couplings and stuff, but you know, I'm not really gonna deal with cut to fit stuff, and I don't have a threader on site, so having Home Depot cut it is a nightmare. I've tried it. It's just easier just doing short little pieces like this. All right, gas line's done, painted, no leaks, installed, everything's good. Got a nice sediment tee on it, sediment trap. Carrier, something special about you guys, and that screw right there. It's so close. There's no way to get anything on there, no service wrench. I had to use a 5/16 ratchet wrench and just the open end of it. It was pretty silly, but I got my gas port on there. We're gonna do gas pressure now, and we're gonna fire up this heat and test it all, see what's going on with that. Zero this out. All right, so now we're gonna turn it into heat mode and burn off the heater. Now, they've got customers in the building. We don't want to freak them out, so we took the discharge panel off, put it here. So the smoke and the stuff that burns off the heat exchanger should come out this end. Inducer's running, and we're just waiting for ignition. Did I turn it on? Yeah, it's on. It's a single burner on this little guy. Make sure my gas is on. Yep, gas is on. We're good. I don't know what all this stuff was. They like had it taped or something weird. All right, here we go. Didn't light. Give it another shot. Maybe I had to clear out some air. It like tried. It opened the gas valve for a second. We didn't get ignition here. So what is going on? Everything's on, inducer's running, pressure switch should be made. There we go. It lit, and it's staying lit. Okay, so we've got gas pressure, 3.7 inches. Yep, burner's going. You can't see the flame anymore. Interesting though that they just push the nozzle through that and it mixes with the oxygen and then gets up into the burner and ignites inside the burner section. Very interesting, but yeah, we're still running. 3.69 inches of water column. We're running, so we're just gonna let it run for a while, burn everything off. It says maximum 3.2 inches of water column. I got it right at 3.18. We're gonna let it run for a bit. We are running low on airflow, so that's gonna affect things a little bit. We're just, again, burning it off for about 10 minutes. We also let the manager know, hey, it might smell kind of funny, you know? But this unit is pretty much ready to go. I'd like to see cooling start, but haven't seen that yet. I'll have to jump it out as soon as we get done running this heater. Interesting, it's almost like this thing's cavitating. It's weird. It's like not a lot of heat blowing out of this either. It's interesting. It's making a funny noise. Nothing's happening to the gas pressure. Gas pressure's staying steady. It's an interesting noise though. It's really... It's like it's lighting and then not lighting. So that was weird. It was making this fluttering sound and you could feel the flame going out. But I adjusted the gas pressure and it stopped. So I put the gas pressure up to 3.2. It was at like 3.19 and it was turning off and turning back on. Now it's running and it's not fluttering anymore. So interesting. Okay, so now it's just running its little heart away. So this is why this was so hard to get out. This little plug is slightly stripped. So I tried to run, I ran this in, this went in, and it grabbed it. It didn't mess these threads up too much. It kind of milfed them a little bit, but I got to try to get it back in. That's why it was so difficult. But look at how tight that is in that corner. Like, it's so tight in that corner. That was a bit ridiculous. I had to use a tap and die set to clean the threads up, but I got them both back in. I had pulled this one out too. Got them both back in, they're tight. We're gonna put this guy together and then fire up cooling. It's running and cooling right now. We're not doing a cooling startup at the moment, but we made sure that we do have a TD, Delta T across it. We got about 49 degrees supply air. It's probably 70-ish in the dining room, mixing with outside air a little bit. So we're good on the cooling. I'm gonna be coming back. We'll do a cooling startup. But yeah, we're doing good. So that's it for today. We're gonna clean up our messes. All right, I am back today and I'm gonna install this smoke detector. So I've been thinking about it and I think right here on this curb adapter is the perfect place to do it because that's going into the return coming up into the unit right here. So we're gonna go ahead and drill some pilot holes with an 1/8 inch drill bit just to feel out how thick the wall is and then potentially drill through it with a hole saw. So the 1/8 inch drill bit, I'm not getting any resistance, so it's not double walled. So we're gonna go ahead and get our holes drilled with the hole saw now. I brought a hole saw kit up here. Here we go, right here. So they give you a guide, tell you what size holes to use. 1 3/8 hole saw. So just gotta find 1 3/8 and get those drilled out. All right, got my holes drilled, and I went ahead and scored the duct detector with the drill bit real quick, because I'm gonna put a blob of silicone back behind there. And then it has these gaskets back behind it, but the silicone will help to make sure that, you know, gets a good tight seal in there. And we'll especially put the silicone around here and around here to keep the moisture from getting in there. So we are installing this smoke detector in the return airstream, okay? And what I have here is I installed it with silicone back behind, and when I pressed it down, the silicone squeezed out. That's what you want. I'm more concerned about the top, but I did get it on the bottom too. So that's good. We're screwed in. I've got a connector coming out. We're just gonna come up with the wire and use this channel right here to run around the unit, because it's just the smoke detector wiring. So that shouldn't be too big of a deal, hopefully, if I can make it work. I don't know though, actually, now that I think about it. I may not be able to make that work, because it might not be open on the front. I might have to do conduit again, which I have it if I need to. I mean, EMT, like I did on the other stuff. All right, got this guy wired up. Pulled in another thermostat wire all the way over here. Just use that channel running through the side right here, all the way down in there, coming out right over here. And you know, every manufacturer wants you to do it differently. Carrier, on this particular carrier, they want you to break a circuit, meaning open a circuit. So what we have is red and black going to the power inputs of the duct detector or smoke detector, 9 and 10, that powers the detector. And then the detector just has a bunch of dry contacts. So we have to have a common leg and a normally closed leg, so that way if the duct detector trips, it opens this guy. So if I hold this down right here, it'll trip the detector. So the unit's gone quiet, shut down, everything's good with it. This thing's good to go. So we just go ahead and hit reset. Now it's reset, and the unit should start back up here once it goes through its startup sequence. Now over here, there it goes, it's already running. Over here, inside here, all I did, like I said, is just broke these two. So originally there was this jumper right here running between those two. It specifically says smoke shutdown right there. So all we gotta do is open that. So now this guy's wired up, ready to go. And I can go ahead and do a cooling startup on this bad boy. Last but not least, I siliconed the electrical connection right there on both ends. And we need to put in the sampling tube. You want the sampling tube coming into the airflow so the air is forced through the tubes. This particular one is gonna come up and go through this way going up. So right like that should be good. Snaps in, and then you've got the vent one right there. Put the cover on, and if I didn't already mention, this is a NEMA 4X outdoor smoke detector or duct detector. So it's meant to be located outside in the weather, has protective gaskets on it, and they're good to go. So we're gonna put that on. We've been running for about 5 minutes. Let's go back to the beginning. This is a fixed orifice 410A system. So superheat's just a hair on the high side, subcooling's about where it should be. I'm not seeing anything too scary here. Outdoor temp is kind of low, discharge temp is good, compression ratio, don't see any issues. Let's see, temperature split says we should have about 22, we're running about 23. Airflow is a hair on the low side, but we know that because we have high static pressure, and I don't want to set the blower any higher. And you can see it right here, static pressure is at 1.3, let's call it 1.3. Now, that static pressure drops when I open an outside air damper, because we are running minimum outside air, but I shut it for this test right here. So that is gonna drop, the airflow will increase slightly, but we'll be pulling some outside air in there. I'm not seeing any major issues here. This is looking pretty good for the cooling startup. You know, everything is pretty honky-dory. Nothing to be too scared of on this one. Yesterday, when I set the gas pressure, I never checked the temp rise. So the temp rise should be about 15 to 45 degrees. And we're currently running at about 25 degrees and still rising. So I don't see any problems with that. Heat's working fine. We're gonna go ahead and turn that off. We're not gonna use heat very much here, so it's not really like this huge deal for us, but yeah, this guy is done, so I'm gonna put it all back together. For testing purposes, I was disconnecting the economizer. All that we did was took the economizer plug right here and plugged in this jumper plug. Whenever you do the installs on these, always save the jumper plug. So that way when you're testing the unit, you could just bypass the economizer really quick. Now I turned it back on, so the minimum outside air damper is going to open, reduce the total external static pressure on the unit. All right, we are installed and completed. Startup done, heating and cooling. Everything's tidied up. Got water in the track. Commissioned the unit as far as I have startup data. I filled out the startup date and the total external static with the economizer in the minimum position and in the closed position for future reference. Got a duct smoke detector installed. That is it. This guy is done. We are going to wrap this up, give the customer the keys, and tell them to keep an eye on it.
Nice little startup on a little 5-ton. Nothing too, not too big of a deal. It's just following the steps, right? Following the process, making sure you're taking your time, sealing the curb down with the curb tape and, moving through the steps, right? I wanted to bend all the conduit, but my bending skills really aren't where they should be. And I probably need to look into that more, but I don't do enough conduit bending as far as EMT to know the math and feel comfortable doing offsets and different things when it comes to the bend. So I just use the, what are they, RBs or LB? It's not an LB. I think it's an RB. But anyways, whatever, just the conduit hubs or whatever you want to call them to make the turns on there. And then very important though, like I said in the video, was that we silicone back behind those, right? So that way we drilled the hole with the tech screw, then pulled it out, globbed a bunch of silicone on there, then put the fitting on with the tech screw through. And then that we were trying to prevent any moisture from getting into the return or the supply or air escaping at the same time, right? Just to be careful. We went ahead and ran the gas line again. I really need to look into it. I've been kind of doing a little bit of research. I'm still kind of torn on whether or not I want to go with a mega press for the gas lines because I just don't do a lot of it. So I'm kind of torn on that one. I guess one way or another, I'm either going to look into a threader, like a portable Milwaukee threader or something, or I'm going to look into the Mega Press tool. Still haven't figured that one out yet, but I need to figure it out of some sort. So that way on these next jobs, because that gas line probably took me like 2 hours between all the trips back to Home Depot, back and forth to try to get all those fittings. And it was kind of a pain in the butt. And it'd be really nice just to have everything that I need, or just go buy raw stock and cut it, right? And then just have some elbows and reducers and whatever. So we went through that. When it came to the commissioning side of everything, you guys saw that I went ahead and some frustrations with the gas side. For some reason, that gas valve was fluttering. Once I adjusted the pressure a little bit higher, the fluttering stopped. So I don't know if that's an indicator of a problem with the gas valve. Who knows? I mean, we were set basically just a little bit below where it was calling for. I think technically I could probably turn that up a little bit higher than what the factory calls for, because our temp rise wasn't nearly as high as the max. But at the same time too, we don't have a huge heating demand, and why get the heat exchanger any hotter than it needs to be? So I don't think we need to be adjusting the gas pressure too much on that. Time will tell. And then as far as the cooling startup, didn't really see anything wrong with that. Everything was fine. I still can't stress enough how much I dislike those economizers. They're just, why do they have to be so complicated to set up? The Jade system was so much easier. And I've asked, my distributor no longer sells the Honeywell Jade. They will not even sell it anymore, which is kind of frustrating. I guess it probably has to do with the people they're buying the economizers from. And I think this one might have been Micrometal, or I don't know what it said, CanFab maybe. Maybe it's CanFab that they're getting the economizers from, and maybe they just don't deal with the Jade system anymore. I don't know. That's kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. The system was back up and running. The customer's happy. All is well. We've got 2 more units to change on that roof. Once we get those changed out, then they'll have more modern equipment up on there. Previously, I installed the York. In the background, there was a newer York unit. I installed that one too. I don't think I made a video on that. I'm not happy with that unit. I'm just really going to start pushing the carriers instead of, because usually I try to go back with what's there just to make the change out easier so that we don't have to deal with curb adapters for the most part and stuff. But even on the York units, you still needed a curb adapter, and they're just a pain. They just really are not my favorite units to work on. So I prefer to put in the carriers or the trains or the Linux. The carrier and Linux are my 2 favorite. Train would be my 3rd. and then York would be like the last, bottom of the barrel. But that's just a personal preference. I'm sure there's guys out there that love working on the York units. I just don't work on them very much, so it's kind of a bummer. But yeah, I'd highly invest, if you guys are going to be doing a bunch of the Carrier startups, that you get that little dongle, that Wi-Fi dongle from Siemens. I found it online. I think it cost me like $100 or maybe $200 or something. It's kind of silly how much it costs, but regardless, it's made setting up the economizers that much easier. I also noticed that my local distributor, I just realized like literally today they were having a class on those economizers. I couldn't make it to this particular class, but I think they're having another class in September. So I'll probably attend that class. Maybe I'm just an idiot and don't, you know, maybe they're not that difficult to set up, and maybe I'm just dumb. So I should probably take a class and learn a little bit more. You know, when it comes to taking classes and different things, all you got to do is poke around people's websites. Go to Carrier, go to whoever your distributor is, go to their website, look at their training tab, and usually they list, you know, when they're going to have certain classes, and it definitely helps you to better yourself for sure. So I think that's it. There was nothing really too complicated on this one. As far as the airflow too, I tried to keep the static pressure at what the unit max was instead of going over, because I don't want to overload that ECM motor, that EcoBlue motor. So I kept the static under, the total external static under, you know, where they said it should be. That doesn't mean that we still don't have airflow problems. We do. We definitely have some return problems. I'd say we have some supply problems too, but there's more of an issue for sure on the return side. But when it came to measure quick and the estimated airflow, it really wasn't too difficult or too bad. So, you know, who knows? Customer will probably be just fine with it. But I really appreciate you guys making it to the end of the video as usual. Thank you so very much. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you know, the easiest way to support this channel is literally watch the videos from beginning to end. It doesn't cost you a thing, just a little bit of your time. That is the easiest way. A couple other methods. You can go to PayPal, Patreon, or YouTube channel memberships. There's links in the show notes. You can also find me on all different other social media platforms under HVACR videos or Chris Stevens. That's my name. And then last but not least, if you go to TrueTechTools.com, actually there's two things left. If you go to TrueTechTools.com and you find any tools that you like, I have an offer code. It's an affiliate code. Big Picture, one word. If you use my offer code Big Picture at checkout on majority of the items on their website, you'll get an 8% discount. I get a small commission from that. It's a great way to help support the channel. And last but not least, HVACRvideos.com. We have merchandise available, hats, beanies, sweatshirts. This is the hat, the main flex fit hat that I wear all the time, every day. I've got a bunch of these lying around my house. Black underbill. It's a breathable material. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm looking at the light through the hat. It's shining through the hat, but you can't really tell from the outside. So it's not a trucker hat, but it's a great, nice hat. So there's a couple different designs though. We also have a snapback that's a flex fit, that's a flat bill, and then we also have a dad hat that's like a real slouchy fit with a buckle on the back. But there's beanies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, stickers. It's all available on my website, hvacrvideos.com. Thank you so very much for making it to the end of the video. Leave me some feedback. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions or comments, you want to shoot me an email, it's hvacrvideos@gmail.com. So again, thank you so very much, and we will catch you on the next one.